The New York Rangers just shocked everyone, winning a thrilling must-win game in overtime, and with some surprise performances from a few players in particular, they keep their playoff hopes and dreams alive. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, a crazy game, a must-win game, and we talked about it in our previous videos that, they had to win this game. They had to come in, get the 2 points here, or else it was looking very bleak, and they did exactly that. We're going to take a look at the playoff picture, but there's a few things from the game we got to break down first. And I mean, the first thing is one of the most ridiculous penalty calls I've ever seen in my life, interference on Matt Rempe. That was absolutely absurd. I cannot believe that. I mean, does Rempe do some stupid things? And if non-Rangers fans are watching this video, they're probably like, of course. And I mean, most Rangers fans and even myself can agree, of course. But I mean, this is not one of them. This is not even a penalty. He doesn't see the guy doesn't see him coming. I mean, it's not a penalty. It's not even interference at that point. He didn't impede his progress. They ran into each other, and Matt Rempe is about 3 feet taller than the guy, and he's Zach Bogosian on top of it. He's 3 feet taller than even Zach Bogosian. So a little bit of a ridiculous penalty call there, puts the Rangers down. And, even though they were down and out, I mean, they started the game hot, and it was a pretty boring game until the third period, I have to say. But this was a nice passing play to start the game. Even Keandre Miller getting in on it. Trocheck kind of whiffs on that, but it's okay. Puts the puck in the back of the net at the end of the day, puts them up 1-0. And then, obviously, Minnesota ties the game. The fan base is like, here we go again. And the man of the hour, the fourth line, has been unbelievable the last little while. Zach Jones with a nice play through the neutral zone to maintain possession, and Brodzinski, I mean, he's been unbelievable. Not just him, that entire fourth line. Look at that shot, and that is the reason that they won this game. It gave them the edge. Obviously, Minnesota tied the game with a double minor to Zach Jones, so he giveth and then he taketh away, of course, but still, great play from him, and great to see the Rangers pick up a win. I have to mention this as well. I've mentioned it every single time it's happened. Very classy gesture from the Minnesota Wild. The Winnipeg Jets have done it, the Ottawa Senators, Toronto Maple Leafs, bunch of other teams, Detroit Red Wings. So they gave a congratulations and a shout out to Sam Rosen. And I have to say again, Sam, I'm very sorry that they're doing this to you in your final year, sir. But hopefully they do end up making the playoffs. But to get into more stuff, Johnny Lazarus calling out the penalty. Unbelievable. Honestly, unbelievable. I can't believe they called it that. I mean, they were down and out. I mean, there was a double minor that Minnesota scored on to tie the game. They still win the game in overtime. It was great to see. I mean, Brendan Othmann, who was just recently called up, he's playing pool during the game. I mean, getting very creative with just trying to get the puck out after he dropped his stick. So that was cool to see as well. But overall, the Rangers come out with a strong performance, honestly. I thought it was good. It was a low event game for the most part. A lot of weird calls, obviously. But they come out with the win in overtime. And, of course, Braden Schneider. Fantastic goal in overtime, as you saw off the top of the video. He is the reason that, obviously, the Rangers won the game. But I think he's been having some strong performances. I honestly do. I know a lot of people have been a little bit lower on him recently. But I think that he's going to be a really good defenseman for years to come. And he has been a good defenseman for this team. And I do really wonder if they are going to play him on the left side next season. It's going to be very interesting to see what the plan is. But looking at the current playoff picture, and this is the most interesting part to me, and we're going to spend a little bit here kind of breaking it down. I mean, Detroit is in the mix. Montreal's in the mix. Out of all the teams here, I do believe Detroit is right there. Like, they could definitely make the playoffs still. When you look at the Montreal Canadiens, I just don't know if they have that jam. I mean, they're still playing pretty good hockey right now. I just don't know if they're going to keep pace with some of the other teams. The Rangers now, as you can see, the updated standings as of right now, as the game ended, now tied with the Columbus Blue Jackets with 70 points. So imagine if you hold on to that lead against the Ottawa Senators, who are in that first playoff spot, wild card spot, I should say, with 75 points. You right now would have 72 points. You'd be right 3 points behind them. You'd have sole possession of the second wild card spot, and the Columbus Blue Jackets, you played them last Sunday. Not only that, let's stop talking about the past now. Let's move to the future, shall we? We'll move to the future. The Columbus Blue Jackets, you play them next. It's your next game. What a great opportunity. I mean, you fumbled it last weekend. You did. You absolutely fumbled it with a horrific performance in both games, honestly. I mean, Shesterkin was the only reason that the first one, you had a lead in the first one, and then the second one was just a horrific performance from start to end, especially defensively. But the New York Rangers now, tied with the Columbus Blue Jackets, heading into Saturday where you play them. That's going to be an electric game, first of all, for both teams. It's going to be a hard-fought game. You have a massive, massive opportunity here to take control of that last playoff spot and obviously try and make the playoffs. I mean, I think Detroit's right there. Like I said, Montreal is not necessarily there. The other wild card, if you want to call it that, is the New Jersey Devils. They won tonight. They did win tonight, but let's keep in mind, they don't have a first-line center anymore. I mean, 2 of their defensemen are out for the entire season. They're going to miss the playoffs, everything. So there is still a world where one of these 2 teams in the New York Rangers and the Columbus Blue Jackets can catch up to the Devils. They are still playing at a very good pace. I mean, they've done enough work earlier this season to kind of put them in that place. But you're only really at this point a few wins away from them if they start to fall a little bit and everything starts to catch up with them a little bit, because there's a lot of season left to go. There's about a month left in the season. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Devils. Obviously, under 20 games left for them, but there's still a lot of time left, and you know, they could be running out of time with some of those guys out of the lineup. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that shakes out. And obviously, Sam Rosen, like I mentioned. But when you take a look at the box score for tonight, just a quick rundown. Strong performances from Johnny Brzezinski, the hometown boy, scoring in his hometown. He had a bunch of family in the building. You'll love to see that. Panarin continuing his hot streak with multi-point games. Not multi-point games, excuse me. A point in every single game for the last 6 games, I believe. So he's been really hot. Matt Rempe, I mean, he's... Not just him, but that fourth line's been unbelievable. I'd argue Matt Rempe has maybe been one of their most consistent players over the last little while, besides Artemi Panarin in terms of point production. But what you know you're going to get out of these guys while they're on the ice, Matt Rempe has been one of their most consistent players over the last little while. Seems crazy to say, but we've come far, I guess, at this point with Matt Rempe. But no, he's been putting in some great work. Obviously, Schneider gets that goal. And Vincent Trocheck, the first goal. Very low event game, boring game for the first half, but some good stuff there from the Rangers. And obviously Shesterkin making the saves when he has to. He lets in 2 goals, but still a pretty solid performance with 26 saves on 28 shots. So pretty good performance from the New York Rangers. You needed this win. You needed the 2 points. It was good to get the overtime, get that 1 point. But now you're tied. You have a massive, massive opportunity heading into Saturday night to pick up 2 points there. And not only that, it's a swing game. So you can take those points away from the Columbus Blue Jackets right out of their hands. You're facing them. They gain no points. I mean, it's a must win at this point. Everything for the rest of the season, I assume at this point would be labeled a must win, but at this point, you absolutely have to win that game. So I want to hear what you have to say about this game in the comments. It was a pretty crazy one to finish it off, and obviously some heroics from the fourth line once again. I thought Zach Jones had a strong game, but again, sometimes he giveth and then he taketh away. But thought it was a strong game still from a lot of the guys. Shesterkin played all right, and then obviously overtime winner, brilliant goal from Braden Schneider. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.